She carried that baby for 9 months. She made it through labor. She made it through delivery. She did everything a mother is supposed to do, everything her body asked of her, everything the moment demanded. And on the same night her daughter took her first breath, the man she married made sure it was the last night Precious Johnson would ever see. Not outside, not on a street corner, not in some dark parking lot at 2 a.m., in a hospital room, on a maternity floor, surrounded by nurses, machines, and the sound of newborns crying down the hall. Welcome to Caught in the Web True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn the notification icon.
We have just learned the woman killed this weekend at Baptist Health Medical Center had just delivered a baby. The Jefferson County coroner says 24-year-old Precious Johnson was shot multiple times, and that 19-year-old Kynath Terry Jr. then shot himself.
Family members are devastated after a new mother was shot and killed by her husband, who then took his own life. It all happened in Brookwood Hospital less than 24 hours ago. The Jefferson County coroner's report says Precious Johnson was shot multiple times. Authorities say she was a patient in the hospital. Family members say the 24-year-old had just had a baby with her husband, 19-year-old Kynath Terry Jr. According to the coroner, Terry died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Homewood police think the hospital shooting was a domestic-related murder-suicide. WVTM 13's Lisa Crane joins us live and local from Brookwood Hospital. Lisa, you spoke with family members in the Alabama Hospital Association today. What have you learned?
Well, I did speak with Kynath Terry's mother today. As you can imagine, she is devastated. She did not want to speak on camera, but she told me she just can't understand what happened. She said this young couple was having some marital problems, and Precious Johnson did not want Terry's family at the hospital when she delivered the baby, but she still can't comprehend that her son could be violent. 19-year-old Kynath Terry had a lot going on in his life. His mother tells me he had finished Army National Guard boot camp, had married 24-year-old Precious Johnson, and they were expecting a baby. But Sunday night, after Johnson delivered her baby, authorities say Terry shot her several times and then turned the gun on himself.
This is the story of Precious Alicia Janae Johnson. This is the story of a marriage that was already breaking before the baby ever arrived. And this is the story of a hospital that had almost no way to stop what walked through its front doors that night. I'm not going to give you an angle. I'm going to give you the timeline, the people who spoke up, and the questions nobody wants to sit with. If this is your first time here, welcome to Caught in the Web. Subscribe because we cover the cases the algorithm tries to bury. Let's get into it. Precious Alicia Janae Johnson was born September 11th, 2001. By the time the story ends, she was 24 years old. A woman of faith, a devoted daughter, someone described by the people who loved her as always searching for the best version of her future. Kynath Williams Terry Jr. was 19, 5 years younger than Precious. He just finished Army National Guard boot camp. He worked as a diesel mechanic. He cut hair on the side. By every account from the people close to him, he was building a life, fast and maybe too fast for a teenager who hadn't even finished growing into adulthood himself. Somewhere in there, the two of them got married. Now nobody's here to tell grown people who to love. An age gap on its own doesn't mean anything sinister. But when you start layering the details of this relationship on top of each other, a teenager barely out of basic training, a new marriage, a baby on the way, financial strain, and reportedly doubts about paternity that some people close to Terry say he was carrying quietly. You start to see a marriage under a kind of pressure most 19-year-olds have never had to face. And by the time Precious went into labor, that marriage was already in trouble. Here's where the story turns, because this detail says more about where this couple stood than almost anything else. Precious did not want Terry's family at the hospital when she delivered. Let's sit with that for a second. That is not a small ask. That's a woman drawing a line in one of the most vulnerable moments of her life, saying, whatever tension exists in this family, I get to choose peace on the day I bring my child into the world. That was her right. Full stop. But Terry's family took it personally. His mother later told reporters she was devastated, that she couldn't understand what happened, that the couple was having marital problems, but she never imagined her son was capable of violence. And according to people who say they were close to Terry, including a family member and a roommate who spoke out after his death, there was more underneath the surface. Claims surfaced online that Terry believed he'd been taken advantage of financially. Claims that he had doubts about whether the baby was biologically his. A roommate who says he served alongside Terry during training wrote that money had gone missing, that there had been infidelity accusations, that Terry kept showing up for the relationship anyway. I want to be clear about something. These are claims from people defending Terry after the fact. We don't have independent confirmation of the affair allegations or the paternity doubts. What we do know, confirmed by multiple people close to both of them, is this. The marriage was strained. Terry had asked his own family to stay away from the hospital, and whatever was happening privately between them had reached a breaking point. Neither family fully understood from the outside. Experts who study domestic violence will tell you something important here. Rebecca McWilliams, executive director of the One Place Metro Alabama Family Justice Center, said incidents like this one are often tied to a diminishing amount of power and control that one partner feels they have over the other, especially during pregnancy and the period right after birth.
It's highly likely that based off of what we see in murder-suicides and the escalation of violence during pregnancy and postpartum is often tied to a diminishing amount of power and control that this person felt like they had on their partner.
Read that again. A diminishing amount of power and control. Precious had just made a major decision without Terry's input. She'd excluded his family from one of the most significant nights of their lives. In a relationship where control was already a fault line, a boundary like that can feel like a direct threat to someone who's already struggling with the sense that everything is slipping away from him. That is not Precious doing anything wrong. That is a woman protecting her peace. But for a young man who may have already felt betrayed, isolated, and out of control, it may have been the thing that tipped everything over. And here's a statistic that should stop you cold. Homicide, not illness, not complications, not accidents, is the leading cause of death among pregnant and postpartum women in this country. Not close. McWilliams said it herself. This isn't a private family matter. It's a public health crisis hiding inside relationships that look, from the outside, like nothing unusual at all. Sunday night, March 1st, 2026. Around 9:30 p.m., Precious had done it. 9 months of carrying that child, months of tension in her marriage, and she had made it through. Her daughter, as later identified as Alia, was here, alive, breathing. Precious was recovering on the 5th floor of the Women's Medical Center at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital in Homewood, Alabama. The baby wasn't in the room with her at that exact moment. That detail matters because it means this newborn was somewhere else in that building when everything happened. Terry came in as a visitor, not a patient, a visitor. He walked through the hospital, got to the 5th floor, walked into her room, then he opened fire. The Jefferson County coroner confirmed Precious was struck by multiple gunshots. She did not survive. Moments later, Terry turned the weapon on himself. He did not survive either. Homewood police responded immediately. When officers arrived, there was nothing left to stop. Both Precious and Terry were already gone. The hospital was placed on lockdown for hours. Every floor, every wing. Other new mothers, other families, all of them locked inside a building where a shooting had just happened on the maternity floor. The one place they believed was the safest room in the city. And somewhere in that same hospital, a newborn baby was spending her first night alive without either parent. Brookwood Medical Center released a statement saying there was no ongoing threat to patients, staff, or the public, and that the hospital was cooperating fully with the investigation. Homewood police classified the case quickly, an apparent domestic-related incident in which both parties died, one at the hands of the other and one by his own hand. There was no mystery about who did what, but the investigation that actually mattered wasn't about who pulled the trigger. It was about how someone was able to walk onto a locked maternity floor with a weapon in the first place. Less than 24 hours after the shooting, a local reporter walked straight through that same labor and delivery unit, unchecked. Nobody stopped her. Nobody asked who she was or why she was there. Sit with that. A shooting happened in that building the night before. 2 people were gone, and the very next day, a member of the press walked the same hallway without a single question asked. That's not a one-time slip. That's a structural gap. Alabama has no state security mandates for hospitals. None. No requirement for metal detectors. No mandated screening process for anyone entering a maternity ward. Hospitals are left to design their own security, which means how safe you are depends entirely on which building you happen to walk into. Danny Howard, president and CEO of the Alabama Hospital Association, acknowledged the gap, saying the association would take the opportunity to review what happened and share best practices across the state's hospital network going forward. That process matters, but it doesn't erase the fact that a man walked into a maternity ward carrying a weapon. And the honest answer for how he got that far is that there wasn't much standing in his way. Precious was supposed to be in one of the safest places available to her. The building itself had almost no mechanism built in to stop what came through its doors. McWilliams put it plainly, domestic violence isn't just a private in-home issue. It's a public health and safety issue for the entire community. And this case proves it in the most literal way possible. If a woman isn't safe recovering in a hospital bed hours after giving birth, there is no location anyone can point to and call guaranteed safe. There was no arrest, no trial, no jury, no sentencing. Because the person responsible for Precious Johnson's death made sure the justice system never got a chance to weigh in. The moment Terry turned the gun on himself, that door closed permanently. What was left behind was paperwork, a coroner's report, an investigation with no defendant left to prosecute, no one to stand in front of a judge, nothing but 2 death certificates and a newborn baby with no parents left to raise her. That is one of the cruelest parts of a case like this. Both families are left without closure. No verdict to point to, no moment where someone answers publicly for what happened. Just grief, unanswered questions, and a lifetime of trying to reconcile the two. Terry's mother is left holding something with no name, grieving a son while knowing that same son took another mother's daughter. She's told reporters more than once that she simply cannot understand what happened, that she never saw violence like this coming from him. And Precious's family is left planning a funeral for a 24-year-old woman who had become a mother only hours before she died, trying to figure out someday what they'll tell her daughter about the night she was born. If you strip away the online claims, the accusations, the family statements defending both sides, here's what the pattern actually shows. Domestic homicide during pregnancy and the postpartum period is rarely about a single moment of rage. It's almost always the final escalation in a relationship where one partner has been losing, or feels like they're losing, power and control over time. Financial strain, infidelity suspicions, a young age, a rushed marriage, a baby that may not have felt fully his, all of it can compound into a sense of powerlessness. And for some individuals, the response to powerlessness isn't withdrawal. It's an attempt to seize back control through violence, often aimed at the one decision the other partner made independently. In this case, a hospital room boundary that had nothing to do with love and everything to do with self-protection. None of that makes Precious responsible for what happened to her. Setting a boundary is not provocation. It is never provocation. What it does explain is why domestic violence experts consistently flag pregnancy in the months after birth as one of the most dangerous windows in an abusive or high-conflict relationship. Not because pregnancy causes violence, but because it accelerates a partner's fear of losing control at the exact moment the relationship is under the most pressure it will ever face. Precious Alicia Janae Johnson tried to protect her peace on the most vulnerable day of her life. She drew a line. She said, "Not this room, not this day." And that completely reasonable decision was met with a violence so final, she never got to hold her daughter again. She was 24. She had just done one of the hardest things a human body can do. She deserved to be exhausted and overwhelmed and figuring out new motherhood one day at a time. She deserved every version of the future that was taken from her. Her daughter, born into the world on the same night she lost everything, deserves better than to carry this as the first chapter of her life. And so does every mother walking into a maternity ward believing it's the safest room in the building. If this case moved you, share it. These stories get buried under news cycles fast, and the people in them deserve better than that. If you or someone you know is in a relationship where something feels off, where you feel like you're losing your voice, your freedom, or your safety, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-79-97233. It's free, it's confidential, it's available around the clock. You don't have to wait for things to get worse to ask for help. We are caught in the web. We tell these stories because the people in them were real, with real families, real futures, and real lives that ended far too soon. Rest well, Precious.